Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insights with me, Omar Ahmed. Before we start, let's first of all have a look at the headlines today.
We are handling the production of the actual show, but we've partnered with Wildlife Direct. And Wildlife Direct have huge networks.
Walt Disney and Nat Geo launch a children's program to educate them more on environmental conservation.
You see, as much as we are talking about suicide among teenagers, among children, and everyone in total, we need to understand these ways.
And on our discussion today, we talk about suicide following September being the Suicide Awareness Month. Thank you so much and welcome. On the 17th of September 2022 at the Safari Park Hotel, Walt Disney Pictures in partnership with National Geographic launched the latest kids show known as Team Sayari, which featured different children conservationists, including our very own Shana Manjeru. The new upcoming kids show is aimed at teaching children more about the environment and the importance of maintaining and keeping the environment clean and safe. Take a look.
It's a privilege for us to be part of this project, and Team Sayari is unique for National Geographic and for Disney in a number of different ways. The first is that it is a series that is produced entirely in Africa by African storytellers.
Team Sayari is a special children's group that was created by a partnership between White Rhino Films, a Kenyan production company, in partnership with Walt Disney and National Geographic Channel. They came together to create Team Sayari, a special children's TV program that is to be aired on Nat Geo World.
We are handling the production of the actual show, but we've partnered with Wildlife Direct. And Wildlife Direct have huge networks that allow them to go where these 10,000 children are. And they've formed partnerships with other conservations and other conservation partners to ensure that that message of Team Sayari Conserve This Planet gets to the ground. And I think that's exactly what the partnership with Wildlife Direct was about. Trying to figure out, okay, so we've captured this content, how do we get this concept to the maximal number of children so that you can have maximal impact in terms of the kids knowing about conservation, seeing other kids who are passionate about conservation and giving them sort of like ownership that this is our planet, this is our continent, how do we take care of what we already have? So making sure that that voice is amplified to everyone is why that partnership is so good and so strong. We make the content, Wildlife Direct partners with other people to make sure that all kids can access this content.
The program consists of different children of whom are trying to make a difference in the conservation of the environment. The children are field reporters of whom will be traveling all over the world to learn, discover, and to teach the viewers different techniques and aspects of the environment as well as to maintain it.
I'm 12 years old, I'm part of Team Sayari, and it's really an exciting day for me because everyone from different countries have come and it's really exciting.
I started my passion for conserving, I think about 3 years ago. When I was around 10 years old, I started making YouTube videos about national parks and places that I visited. And then from there, I joined stuff like the Nairobi National Park cleanup, and then I got more interested into conservation from there.
We can start by using less plastic because using plastic because it doesn't rot, it's biodegradable because it doesn't rot. So adding a lot, just building it up will make our climate really confused. So we need to reduce the amount of plastic we use so that we can stop this climate change.
One of the children who will be part of Team Sayari is Shana Manjeru, who is part of the studio reporters who are given different puzzles and missions by an owl tree known as Funzi, which helps to identify different species and gets to teach the team new and great facts about the environment.
It's been great. I've got to meet new people, I've got to learn more about wildlife and nature, and some surprising facts, like who knew that bees have smelly feet? Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Look at the shocked face.
The TV program will be aired on Nat Geo World and will be accessed by all children of all ages as it has no age limit. Reporting from Mtoto News Insights, I am Brian King.
And that story takes us to our first break here at Mtoto News Insights. But don't go too far, we are coming back with a discussion on suicide following the entire month of September being the Suicide Awareness Month. So stay tuned.
Shamamsi Wanjiru, a 16-year-old girl, committed suicide on Wednesday evening at the family home in Kaloleni, Nakuru. Wanjiru's action, the family says, were triggered by a punishment by her teacher at Langalanga Secondary School. She was ordered to shave her hair for having unbraided it within the school compound on the closing day of the second term. The matter was raised on the opening day of the third term.
Monday, alirudi nyumbani jioni. Akaambiwa kesho Tuesday, usikuje shule, mkuje na mama yenu nini Wednesday. Sasa leo Wednesday wakaenda na msichana yangu. Sasa venye walienda na msichana yangu akaambiwa afanye nini, anyolewe nywele. Sasa venye alikuja alikuwa na hiyo hasira. Na mimi nikamwambia nywele lazima ubomoe unyolewe. Kwa sababu kesho lazima urudi shule kama umenyolewa. Na tukabishana, akasema mimi sinyoi. Nikamwambia nywele lazima unyoe.
According to the family, Wanjiru penned an apology letter to the teacher a day before she died by suicide. She had a silent, introverted nature. But they say they did not in any way expect what happened.
Ati anajinyonga. Sasa nikamwambia jirani huyu anajinyonga. Si ndio wakakimbia wakakuta amejinyonga. Sasa wakakata kamba hadi nini na kamba ya pasia alikatanisha. Kakanyanga kitanda ya gorofa akaruka.
Kaniambia hapana, mimi nilikuwa tu nimebomoa line mbili, nikienda kupewa report book, ndio class teacher aliona nilikuwa nimebomoa line mbili na akasema hata mimi ninyoe nywele.
The family left at a loss, with relatives saying their kin had a bright future.
Alikuwa ananiambia, "Mom, I want to be a nurse." Alikuwa anapenda kucheka, kusmile. Sikutarajia hiyo punishment yenye anapewa ndio ita cost life yake. Na ningejua ndio ita cost life yake, ningemwambia sinyoe hiyo nywele.
Kumbe alikuwa tuna hiyo hasira. Na angesema aje, sitarudi hiyo shule, nibadilishe shule. Na walikuwa watoto wengi, walikuwa watoto 14.
Nakuru County Education Director Frederick Osewe says the case is isolated and that the incident did not happen within the school compound. Marianne Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Before we took a break, I'd highlighted on the topic that we're to discuss about suicide. And today I have my child panelists, and I'm going to let them to introduce themselves before we start the conversation. So let me start with you.
Hello, my name is Eric Namai. I'm a child participant writer, child's right advocate, a podcaster, and a child journalist in Mtoto News. Asante sana, Eric Namai. Let's come to our very own Sheila.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheila Luangu. I'm a child advocate at Mtoto News, a child trained journalist at Mtoto News, a podcaster, a student, and so many titles.
Asante sana, Miss Sheila. Let's come to our very own Brian.
Thank you so much, Omar. My name is Brian King. I'm a trained journalist here at Mtoto News.
So, asante sana. So today we are talking about suicide, a really sad topic for us. And before we start, let's first of all get to hear from our child journalist about what they know about suicide and all that. So Brian, have you ever heard of any child, especially young people, who has committed suicide, or someone who has, had that mindset of wanting to commit suicide?
Yes, I have. On a personal level, I know that just recently we know of a girl who hung herself because she was blamed of something she didn't do. Just previously, I think a month before that, there's also a boy who shot himself. In fact, he was the son of a famous politician who shot himself because of issues we did not know. So other than that, I also know of some personal cases where friends of mine have attempted or thought of suicide. And I think thinking about suicide, I think it's almost every single teen, if not every child in Kenya, has or is thinking about suicide, committing suicide. That is.
Okay, asante sana, Brian. Let's come to our very own Sheila. Sheila, have you ever heard of anyone who has had that mindset of wanting to commit suicide or has committed suicide, and maybe why?
Okay, I know of two. One was above 18, so I won't say that was a child, and the other one was my classmate. He committed suicide at class 6 because a teacher had accused him of doing something he didn't do. And they were not ready to believe him, the parents and the teachers were not ready to believe that he was not the one. So he killed himself, and
Wow, that's really sad actually. Let's come to Namai. Namai, have you ever heard of anyone who has committed suicide, or anyone who has, had that sensation of wanting to commit suicide? Or has anyone, like a friend, ever come to you and told you, you know what, I want to commit suicide?
Yeah, Omar. There's that story of Brian, the girl who committed suicide because she was blamed of something, and then the boy before that. And then also on a personal level, I've actually witnessed a boy who wanted to commit suicide. Some of my friends have actually come and told me, have you ever thought of suicide? Well, I think that counts.
Actually, Namai, that does count, and that this informs us that children do also go through a lot of challenges, and we are also vulnerable to things like also maybe mental health and all that. So maybe if I can start with you, what are some of these let's say major causes of people wanting to commit suicide, especially in environments like schools and institutions?
Well, just as you said, Omar, mental health. For me, it's all mental health. I actually, after I finish school, I want to focus more on mental health. The major cause is mental health, but we also have this minus that narrowed down to mental health. We have depression, sadness, anxiety, social anxiety, any type of anxiety. We have bullying in school. We have just being sad. We also have overthinking. Not even mental health, access to firearms. Like that boy who killed himself, he had access to firearms, to a firearm. Maybe it was his father's firearm, I think. Yeah, and he killed himself. So probably if that firearm wasn't there, we'll be talking about something else. Yeah.
Indeed. So, Basi, let's come to our very own Sheila. Sheila, what are some of these causes of, suicide, especially in young people?
Causes, I repeat, peer pressure in terms of you want to fit in a group that you can't afford to fit in there. So because you can't fit in there and you'll be like called a loser, you're not mature and stuff. So you will try to fit in a group that is not your group, you see. Now that will make someone commit suicide. And then as you said, depression, mental health and all that. Yeah.
Asante sana, Sheila. Let's come to Brian. Brian, we as a society, is this something that we have normalized in talking about it? Are we talking about suicide? Is there maybe classes for children to be taught about suicide?
I don't think so, Omar. But first of all, I think we have to break it down to what is suicide to begin with, right? So suicide is when a person takes his or her own life, right? That is a child. Let's talk about even children. A child deciding to end his life. And why does this happen? Eric here told us about mental health. Sheila told us about peer pressure and trying to fit into a group that you're not able to. Now we come back to this true question, that is the society talking about suicide enough? I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure even at these funerals of those children who committed suicide, it will be covered up or enveloped to look like it's just a more natural death, okay? It's an unfortunate accident, which it is, but it's not an accident. Suicide is not an accident. If it was an accident, it would be death. Suicide is not an accident. Suicide is something done on purpose. Someone sat down, decided to plan and execute something, and it ended up with his or her own life ending. And this is not an accident. This is someone who sat down knowing the results of what he's doing, right? Knowing that after this, I am done. I will no longer be alive. I will no longer have to face anyone. Now, why? Why is this? We come back to your question, the society. Is the society talking about suicide enough? No, it's not. And if we were even to talk about suicide, what would we be talking about? You can't just go to your house and be like, hi children, today we're talking about suicide.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Yeah, that just can't happen, right? So I guess when we're saying, is the society talking about suicide enough, we're looking at the perspective of, are we giving our children enough solutions to their problems? Are we telling them that, hey Brian, if this and this happens, you can do this and this. And if you can do this and this, you can do this and that. You don't have to even think about suicide. You can tell him or her, please don't think about suicide. Death is never the option. I mean, after all, I said this earlier. The human mind immediately thinks of solutions whenever it's faced with a problem, right? So if suicide is a solution that comes up there, I mean, that's a problem. It's supposed to be in the problem side, right? So we should make sure that as a society, even as brothers, as sisters, as parents, that is mothers and fathers, even relatives, uncles and aunties, we talk to our children enough about solutions, giving them solutions to their problems. This is where sex education comes in. This is where peer pressure comes in. This is where even issues of personal health and mental health comes in.
Thank you so much, Brian, for those inputs. Now let me come to our very own Sheila. Now, Sheila.
Yes.
There's this story we used to read in high school. It was about someone named Samuel Matandiko in a story called Tumbo Lisiloshiba. He committed suicide. He wanted to commit suicide because of situation at home na early fail exam.
Early fail exam.
Yes. So do you think some of the situations back at home can make a child want to do this?
Okay, before I add, I'm sorry. Before I say I answer that, let me just try to back up what Brian was saying. You see, it brings us back to the society and the community and everyone in general. You see, as much as we are talking about suicide among teenagers, among children, and everyone in total, we need to understand this. Where is the root of this? There's no need for us to keep cutting the weeds and leaving the roots inside. We need to plug everything. Like, we need to uproot everything. So it takes us back to, should parents take parenting classes before having children? Should they be educated on the importance of talking to these things to their children? Yeah, so that is what I thought maybe would be
a really good solution.
Yeah, I think about that, Samuel. Yeah, it's parents are over expecting to us. They over expecting. They want you to get an A. They want you to read. They want you to become an engineer. They want you to become a doctor, a pilot, and stuff. But they don't that is what they want. What about you? What do you want? Will you live their life? You've heard of, there are so many students who've gone to do engineering, medicine, and then after they have finished, they give the degree to their parent, and then they continue with their life. So parents out there, please, as much as you're expecting to your child, just know you're putting on pressure to him or her. And as you put pressure to him, or it's good to put pressure. As students, we need that pressure to work hard, to work smart, and become at least important people in the society. But that doesn't mean you make us do what we cannot do. Let us do what is in our ability. Yeah.
Asante sana, Sheila, for those inputs. Let me come to Namai. Namai, now I'm still asking the same question that I asked Brian. Do you think we as a society should talk about suicide and maybe get classes for them?
Yes, I think we should talk about suicide, and also think we don't talk about suicide that much. The only time we get to talk about suicide, especially in teenagers or youth, is when you see it on TV. Like, remember that case of that girl? She killed herself because of being blamed, right? Do you hear it anymore?
Actually, I don't.
It ended, it stayed for 2 weeks, and then it ended. What I think we should do as a society, and by society I actually mean us, me, you, our parents, our peers, literally everyone. Let's go back to what Sheila said. Uproot the roots, remove the roots. Let's stop that thing which is leading to suicide. Let's say for teenagers, what is leading to what is the main cause for suicide? What is the main thing leading to suicide? It's bullying. Let's say peer pressure, as Sheila said. We also have depression. But why is a 16-year-old depressed? That's the question we should be asking. Why is he depressed? Let's face it, Omar. We both know that they're teenagers with girlfriends and boyfriends in relationships, right? Yeah. When we're in class 6, we're taught about the adolescent, right? We're taught that boys will be attracted to girls, right? But it ends there. The teachers don't teach you what you should do whenever these things happen. So they end up having boyfriends and girlfriends, and then obviously there's heartbreak, and then there's depression. There you have it. That's where depression comes from. What should I do when I have these feelings? How do I handle them? We're only taught about boys being attracted to girls. We're not taught how to handle that feeling. Okay, when I get emotions, I'm attracted to a girl. How should I handle that? If you don't teach me, then I'll definitely go and make her my girlfriend if it happens like that, right? And then it ends up being me being heartbroken, and then I'm depressed, and then it's just a domino effect. Depression, wallowing in the miasm of self-pity and regret, and then lastly it's suicide. So we should talk about it.
We should talk about it, Sindio. Let's talk about it, Sindio. Anyway, we are taking a short break here at Mtoto News Insights, but don't go too far. We're still coming back with the solutions to all these problems, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, tulikuwa tunaendelea with this discussion on suicide. So we are with Brian. Now Brian, you as a child advocate, East Africa representative of the PACLO, what do you think a child out there can do when he or she gets that sensation of, you know what, let me just take away my life?
I think first of all we have to look at something. I just have to tell you guys something. You know, when you kill yourself, you die, okay? And it's as simple as that. We don't know about you. You're gone. But what about what you leave behind? You know, I just want you to take a minute and just think, what would you feel when you lose a parent, eh? If you don't have someone you really care about, how does that feeling go? I mean, it's so sad. It's terrible. It's just sad. You know?
Yeah.
Now that's the kind of feeling you're leaving behind to your parents, to your friends, to those people you love the most. I mean, killing yourself is not really solving a problem. It's giving your problem to someone else. Now imagine if you are unable to solve that problem, you add on that problem to someone else. Suicide for me it's a sin. In fact, suicide, that's why we imprison those people who try and attempt suicide. Attempting suicide is actually a crime in Kenya because of that. It causes so much heart pain, it's so terrible, and it's so sad. And now to you, it's unfortunate, but I believe all of us here on the show have actually thought about suicide at some point in time. I'm pretty sure some of you will not like to say it, but I'm pretty sure we have. And why is that, right? Eric asked the question, why is a 16-year-old depressed? I think all 16-year-olds are depressed one way or another.
Yeah.
It's about adolescence. It's about growing up. Manze, you don't know what's going on inside of you. You're trying to figure it out, and the society is not understanding. You know, at that age, you feel like nothing can understand you. No one is able to understand you. No one knows what you're feeling. But the truth is, we all have been there. Your parents have been there. Everyone knows what you're feeling, and you just have to talk. Just find someone you can talk to. Find something you can do. How to express yourself, please. Ukiji, you're not solving anything. Now imagine, I actually like to think about this, right? If there's an afterlife, you kill yourself here and then you move on to that life with the same problems.
You might find the same
you will also kill yourself there.
Or
so
maybe cremation exists, you never know actually. So
yes, exactly.
Let's just try and just get someone to talk to actually. Someone you trust. Talk to them about your problems. And
if you can't find even someone to talk to, just open a recording in your phone. I find this helps me. Just go to sound recorder, open it and talk. Just remove everything, record it, and later you can listen to it here where you are.
Indeed. Asante sana Brian for those wise inputs. Let me come to our very own Sheila. Sheila,
Yes.
there's this child who's going through a lot of problems at home, in school maybe, and then he or she gets this sensation of, you know what, I want to take away my life. You know what, maybe I should just take away my life, but maybe ako chwani unaona. So what do you think this child can do?
Okay, Omar, thank you so much. I think I'll have to quote what someone told me. Okay, as everyone here said, at a point we've thought of suicide. So this person told me, Sheila, ukiwa umekanyagia mwiba, and then someone is trying to pluck you off that miba, then wewe unazidi kukanyaga, are you still helping? Are you helping yourself? No, you ain't. And I felt like, this is just something very important in life perspective. You see, if you have that sensation that you want to commit suicide, that is not the solution. That is, you've seen a weed in your garden ama mashamba, badala ya kuingoa, you cut it. You say, sin meikata, it's not sin. But still, like, as much as we want to do that, we are not ending the problem. The way he said, maybe after life we'll go with that problems. And there is hell waiting for us. The Holy Book says if you commit suicide, nenda kwa shetani. Kwa shetani ni hell. That's what we all believe, right? So the thing here is, you should not commit suicide. You should not try to add problems to what you have. Try to speak. I find this helpful because when you speak, at least hata kama, then don't speak to everyone, just speak to someone you trust, a trustworthy person mwenye hata kujudge. Then something else, maybe just a message to all of us and to the society and those watching. Let's try and eradicate this suicide thing, and let's speak about it. Talk to your children about this. Talk to your cousins, talk to your sister, your siblings, your far relatives, talk to them. And then something else about the society, let's not just speak about it, because I remember when that classmate of mine died, it was as if nothing had happened. It is just like a natural death. At least it seems like an accident to others, but there it was just a natural death. He was buried like at, I don't know, with those taboos and stuff, and it was like, no, some things and stuff. So what we need to do is let's just uproot everything. As much as we are leaving the roots inside the soil, there is water, there is soil, and it will germinate back. So let's uproot everything.
Asante sana Sheila. Let's uproot everything, the root of the matter. Sindio? Yeah. Let's come to Namai. Namai, there's this child who gets that sensation of wanting to kill himself or herself. What can you advise them as a child advocate?
Well, me first, I'll tell you, don't kill yourself. Well, if you kill yourself, then, yeah, as Brian said, you're not living with the problems, you're leaving the problems to us. And that's actually means society, your family, your friends. When you kill yourself, if you killed yourself because you didn't have friends, believe me, you'll have many friends after you die. So that's not the easy way. I'll tell you to talk about it. I'll always say talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Even if nothing is happening, just talk about it. Talk to your friend, talk to your parents, talk to your peers, and if you don't have anyone to talk to, do like Brian, talk to yourself. Believe me, it works. And if you can't find a way of talking to yourself, run. Don't run away from home. I think it's an article I read. When you actually, you go to a field, and it's an empty field, obviously. You don't want to run in front of a market. People will say you're mad. Go to a field and imagine that your problems are behind you. Your feelings, your worries, your stress are behind you, and then run. The more you run from them, the more your mind actually processes that you're running away from the problems. You won't find the mentality of killing yourself. You'll actually find that they're all gone. You're relieved because after a run, first of all, it helps you physically, and then it helps you mentally because you'll be free mentally. Another thing, let's break it down at this, Omar. The government, the society, and us as child advocates and friends. The government should actually give programs. First of all, give programs to parents, how to deal with an adolescent. Obviously, as Brian said, feelings are escalating. You don't know what to do. You feel like nobody understands you. And it's actually like that. Parents say that, hii ni kitu tumezoea, like when they reach the state, they act like this. But do you know, maybe you don't even understand them. Maybe they're going through bullying in school. And I'll focus more on bullying because I had a friend of mine who was bullied to the extent of wanting to kill himself. So maybe he's been bullied in school, and you just say, it's a stage, atapita tu. Just try to talk to your child. Actually be a friend to your child. That's what I'll always say. Try to be a friend to your child. Don't be a parent only, because if you're a parent only, that means you're just providing food, you're providing clothes, you're providing shelter, you're taking the child to school, but you're not talking to your child. And if you want to know your friend to your child, leave him with his friend in the house. They talk and then come back. If they keep quiet, there's something there. They don't want to listen to you, or they don't want to talk when you're there. That's a problem. Talk to your child and just be a friend to your child.
Asante sana Namai. And before we finish up, I'd love to get a perspective from you, children. Like, let me start with Sheila. Sheila, do you think maybe our parents at home are doing enough, and what can you tell them, to do so that children cannot get this sensation, and also teachers at school, because students spend more time in school than at home.
Okay, thank you so much, Omar. What should be done with parents, teachers, and everyone at the society at large. It's teachers, I'll tell you, be friendly. As much as your main objective in school is to teach, please try to at least enhance these life skills subject in school. If you are a teacher teaching life skills, this is a chance. This is where I always say our class is always active during life skills. They can say whatever they think is right and whatever they think is wrong. So at least try to use this lesson at least to know more about your students and to know what is going on. Then something else about parents, the way Eric was saying, is be friendly to your child. At times, you will want to say something, but because your parent will judge you, you'll have to keep quiet. Be friendly. Talk to them about what they're going through. How many times you, a parent who you're watching me, have you talked to your child after school? Or do you just ask about the report card, what the teacher said, and if you don't have assignments? that is not enough. That is not enough to show that you care. That is not enough that to prove that you know your child. Knowing the color of your child, the favorite food of your child, the favorite outfit, the favorite game is not knowing your child. You need to know the weakness. Why does my child hate yellow? Why does my child do this? Why do you always come late? Why are you so quiet? At least ask such in a more friendly way.
Asante sana, Sheila. Let's come to Brian. Now, Brian, the same question. Do you think our parents are doing enough and teachers at school? And if they're not, what do you think you as a child should be done? Like if you are in the same situation, you're in school, you are at home, which I'm sure you've been, what do you think they can do?
Thank you so much, Omar. But before we get to that, I guess I want to say something to the children. I guess we have this mentality. We were brought up in a manner where it's not just for the boys, in fact, it's even for the girls. It's not okay to express yourself. It's not okay to feel sad. It's not okay to feel angry. It's not okay to feel happy or even too overjoyed, right? We always have to be limited and have bounds on how we express ourselves emotionally. So I guess to you guys, it's okay to feel sad, man. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to be depressed. I know most people will not agree with me, but it's okay. We all feel that it's okay to want to have your own time. It's okay to want to be away from everyone for at least 5 minutes and just be quiet, have at least hear yourself. It's okay, man, just chill. You be you. I guess that's the most important part.
Yeah.
You being you, man. You don't have to listen to Eric, you don't have to listen to Sheila, you don't even have to listen to me. Find your own voice. Be you. What do you want? Is it to be away from people? Then be away, okay? If you feel like an environment is not comfortable for you, don't stay there. Sheila mentioned that but you don't stay comfortable. You get away from there. Yeah. And I guess to my parents as community and government, you're not doing enough. The minute we cover up suicide, the minute we don't talk to our children, we have already failed. I guess I have to agree with everything Sheila and Eric said. Just do better. Yeah.
Asante sana, Brian. Indeed, just try and do something better and find an activity, maybe, especially the children who are going through this. Get an activity like maybe you'd really love to do, if it's gaming, if it's running. There's also a good technique that most people use. If you feel like you're depressed, just go to an open field. You can run, as Namai said, or you can even try and scream. Actually, screaming your problems out at least helps in taking them out and all that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to keep the conversation flowing at our social media platforms at Mtoto News, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also visit our website at www.mtotonews.com. You can find me at all social media platforms at Omar Hamed 83. But for now, we do say goodbye.